Okay, just getting set up here. If you're watching on YouTube, look in the chat. You'll find a couple of resources there. We've got class notes for tonight, and we also have a live Zoom link. So if you're live on YouTube at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 17th, you could also join us live on Zoom. After the class, we cut the YouTube feed and we stick around and talk a little bit about the subject matter. So I hope that you join me over there. You'll find that down in the chat. All right. All right, welcome to tonight's Increase Cast. God bless you. I'm Blake Anderson, and I'm excited to be here with you yet another week. I just thank you all who are tuning in, watching the classes, participating with us, involved in the discussion, and really taking away these points and improving your lives. I've been blessed by God that He brought me unto Himself, and He changed my life, and He taught me some things that have changed my results. And, in this Increase class, this is a place that we take those spiritual principles, we learn to apply them to get natural results. And we're going to do that again here tonight. So tonight's class, if you look above me and you've looked in the title of this YouTube, is Why Smart People Fail. It's a real shame to see smart people fail. And I hope that, I'm guessing if you're watching this class, you consider yourself a smart person. And I hope that you'll stick with me through this as we really unpack why smart people fail. And hopefully by the end that we're empowered to know what it takes to succeed and how we don't have to continue to be smart people that fail. This really struck me the other day as the class subject that we need to get to, because I was thinking there were so many years of my life where I was just in search for knowledge. I was in search for knowledge, for information, and I considered myself a smart person. I got A's in high school. I did pretty well in college. I had a strong memory, yet I had so many years that I didn't succeed. And it was one of the most maddening things to ever go through. And maybe you're in a season like this, or you've experienced this, to think, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I figure this out? I aced my classes in high school. I did well in college, but I'm still not making the money I think I should. I'm still not getting the results that it seems like my peer group are getting, or I had hoped to get by this age. Why am I failing? It's a hard thing. And it's also a maddening thing when you see people in your life who are succeeding and you're thinking, I know I've got to be as smart as them, but they've got more money than me. They seem happier than me. They just got the promotion that I didn't get. Why did this guy or this gal get it? I know I've got to be smarter than them. What must be wrong with me? And we're going to press into that tonight, because there's a lot of smart people in the world who are full of knowledge, are extremely intelligent, great memories, but are failing. And what I hope that you get from this class tonight is to understand that it's not your intelligence in the beginning that leads you to success. There's 3 key reasons why people succeed, and we'll get to those in the end after we address why smart people fail. So what are some reasons that smart people fail? Well, one reason that smart people might fail is a pride issue, right? Oftentimes, if you're like me, if you thought you were smart, you just assumed that you knew it all. You didn't check your assumptions. You move forward with confidence on things that weren't for certain yet. Your information wasn't as good as you thought it was, and maybe you didn't have the skill level that you thought you did because you had succeeded up to this point in life. Smart people often fail because of doubt or fear. I struggled with doubt and fear so much in my life, where especially after I'd had some losses, and you begin to doubt your ability, and you begin to doubt your plan, and maybe even you become afraid of failure or afraid to try. What if I get embarrassed? What if I'm humiliated? What if people find out that maybe I'm not as smart as I think I am? Smart people fail because they doubt and they don't act. Smart people fail for apathy. Oftentimes, they don't take it seriously. You know, there's this quote from an anonymous person and that says, everyone wants to eat, but few are willing to hunt. I've known some incredibly smart people that when it came down to it, they just really weren't willing to put in the work. So they fail because of their apathy. Smart people, I've seen smart people fail for boredom. Have you ever found yourself in a role that's not exciting anymore, and or in a company that you're not excited about what they do anymore, and you just kind of get bored, and so you stop giving it your all, stop paying attention, stop engaging what you're doing? Smart people fail oftentimes when they get bored, and this is a common thing for really smart people, because if you are a smart person whose brain can process a lot of things and you have high functioning intelligence, then you'll get bored quick. And I've seen lots of smart people, when they get bored, they check out and their results suffer and they fail. Smart people fail for procrastination, waiting too long, thinking I'll get to it when I get to it, not taking the deadline seriously enough, not taking what they're up to seriously enough, and deciding that they're going to at the last minute try, but not giving themselves the proper amount of time to really do the work necessary to get success. Smart people fail from a lack of activity. Smart people think that because they know it all, they don't have to do as much, that their intelligence will make up for a poor work ethic. And that's a fallacy. And we'll get into that in just a minute. And finally, smart people fail from overthinking. And this is something I've struggled with a lot. And most of the smart people that are failing out there, the number one reason they're failing is because of analysis paralysis. They're overthinking everything. And they couple that with their fear, and they become afraid to act and afraid to do anything about it. They say, if I could just learn a little bit more, if I could just get another degree, if I could just get another certification. They hide behind the Bible verse that says, my people perish from a lack of knowledge. And that's true. Knowledge plays a part, but oftentimes that's a cop-out. That's an excuse that smart people use not to act and to continue to overthink. You know, there's a verse in the Bible, James 2:26, that says, faith without works is dead. You see, James was teaching about the importance of having faith, but him saying, you know, the belief in something isn't really belief unless you're willing to act on it. I love this quote by Jim Rohn, who was Tony Robbins' mentor. He says, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Have you ever done that? I know I have. I found many excuses in my life and many reasons. I had many alibis for my failures. So easy to blame circumstance, the situation, the economy, the weather, maybe the teacher, your team members. But really, there's three things that we need to do, smart people, if we want to stop failing. If we want to finally get the results that we feel like we should have because of our intelligence. Well, the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to understand that your success is not about your intelligence. Clearly, it plays a little part, but really, success isn't about intelligence. It's about three things. Success is a matter of your hunger. It's a matter of your hustle, and it's a matter of your humility. Hunger, hustle, and humility. So let's press into that a little bit more. I was looking into what some famous people have said about their success, and you'll find these common themes. I knew I was on the right track because some people that are far more successful than I have said similar things. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, said, be humble, be hungry, and always be the hardest worker in the room. Tom Brady said, stay hungry, stay humble. That's when asked, what's the secret to their success? They didn't say be the smartest guy in the room. They didn't say, go to more classes. They didn't say you need more degrees. They didn't say, study the playbook anymore, even though that's important with Tom Brady. They said, stay hungry, stay humble. Dwayne Johnson says, be humble, be hungry, and always be the hardest worker in the room. And if you know anything about these two gentlemen's success, you'll know that they weren't the favorite. They weren't the golden child that they turned out to be. They weren't the smartest guys in the room, but they were the hardest worker. They came from humble beginnings. Tom Brady, picked in the 6th round, becomes the world's greatest quarterback in NFL history. Dwayne Johnson, mediocre college football career, finds a way to squeak into WWE wrestling, and now is maybe one of the biggest movie stars that we have in show business right now. And how did they do that? They've done it because they were humble, because they hustled, and because of their hunger. So let's break those down just a little bit more. So the first thing that you've got to do if you want to succeed is you've got to have hunger. You got to have a desire. You got to have determination. It's got to be down in your core. It's got to be in your gut. You've got to want what you are after. If you'll have a desire and a determination, what will happen in you is you will develop courage, and you will be someone willing to pay the price for the results you want. You'll be one of these people that says there's no price too high to get what I want. The second thing, after you have hunger, that you've got to be willing to do is you've got to be willing to hustle. It means you've got to be willing to work for it. When I talk about hustle, I'm talking about your work ethic, but I'm talking about execution. You see, I love this Bible verse in 1 Corinthians 4, verse 20. Paul says, for the kingdom of God is not in word, but in power. And that word power is dunamis. Another way you might say it is, the kingdom of God is not about talking, it's about doing. It's about executing. You see, oftentimes smart people are failing because they're overthinking about what they want and all the different strategies, and they're not doing anything about it. You've got to eventually have hustle. You've got to have a work ethic, and you've got to be able to put in the work. And the third key to this success, the third thing you've got to know is you've got to have humility. Like Tom Brady says, stay hungry, stay humble. You see, it takes curiosity. As we've said in other classes, that your journey to success is a long one, and your success is not guaranteed. You know, we said earlier that smart people often fail because of their pride and their ego. And so if you're going to make it to the distance, if you're going to go to places you've never been, you're going to have to be curious. You're going to have to be humble. You're going to have a teachable spirit. You're going to have to be willing to learn new things. Try not to be the smartest person in every room that you find yourself in, but always listening, always learning more. And you're going to have to be humble enough to keep trying, even when you fail, even when you get knocked down. You think, I haven't failed, I haven't lost, I've learned something. Be humble enough to learn something rather than lose something. There's a couple more Bible verses about this stuff. You know, Galatians 6:9 says, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Paul was writing in Galatians saying that you've got to be willing to keep trying. You've got to be willing to persist. You've got to put in the work over time. Don't be weary in well-doing, because eventually you're going to get there. You're going to reap. It's something that Jesus said, slightly different, but I think we're getting at the same spiritual principle. In Luke 9, verse 62, Jesus said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. Now, he was talking to someone who asked what it would take to be saved and be one of his disciples. But in another way, we're really talking about something that's important to you, what you're pursuing. No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. Jesus is saying when you decide to pursue after something, you don't look back. You continue on until you get there. So you have the humility to continue on, to continue to learn, to know that you're going to have to become a new person to experience new results. You have a hustle and a work ethic to execute over and over and over again. You understand that the kingdom of God, this thing that you're after, it's not about talking, it's about doing. And you're going to have to put in the work. Eventually, you're going to have to put your thoughts aside and you're just going to have to do. And then you understand that it takes hunger to succeed. And smart people often fail when they don't have that hunger. Because if you got hunger, you've got hustle, and you have humility, it doesn't matter if you're the smartest person. Oftentimes, the most successful people in the world weren't the smartest person. They'll be happy to tell you that. Every once in a while, we get an Elon Musk, we get a Bill Gates, we get a Warren Buffett, we get some people who are truly, truly brilliant. But most of the world, when we look around and find successful people, we don't find the smartest people on earth. We find people who have hunger. You find people who have hustle, and you find people who have humility. So I want to leave you with just a couple of quotes to challenge you going forward from one of my favorite books. And it's the book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's a novel, and it's extremely thought-provoking. And it's about pursuing your dreams. Because ultimately, what are we after when we talk about we want success? We're after our dreams. We're after that thing that God put in our heart. We're all wanting to know, do I have what it takes? Am I worthy? Can I really accomplish something great? Will my life mean something? And yes, it can. God put a dream in you so that you would achieve it. He has plans for your life, but you're going to have to be willing to follow after him. And I don't want you to be psyched out, sidelined, or ruined by the thought that maybe you're not smart enough to get there. Because it won't be about your intelligence. It'll be about your effort. But I'll leave you with a couple of thoughts. You know, on the back cover of this book, I love it. It's a quote from the book. It says, "To realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation." That's your obligation, to realize your destiny. I think that's probably why you're here, why you're watching these classes, that you want to realize your destiny. It's why you worry about failure and you want to succeed. It's because you're after something. But these two quotes that I love from this book, the first says, "Don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart." Don't give in to your fears. You're going to have the courage, the hunger to pursue after what you want. You're going to have to be willing to put in the work and not be afraid of it. And you're going to have the humility to continue to learn. And then here's a final quote from The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It says, "Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity." So I challenge you now to be hungry for that dream that God put on your heart, to commit to put in the work necessary to get there, and to have the humility to become a new person so that you can experience something new in your life. God bless you. Pray that you'll join me again on another Wednesday night as we continue to press into these spiritual principles that we might achieve natural results. So if you're watching on YouTube, check the chat. There is a Zoom link. You can join us over here in the Zoom room. We're live. We're going to talk about this some more. There's a passcode there. And I pray that you are blessed and that you'll join us. If you're on Zoom, stick around.